Right. Well, it's awesome to be here tonight. I'm really excited, and hopefully the excitement is more than the nerves. So, initially, I was asked to give a talk on Christian action, and when I was asked that, I was again excited, and I thought for me, with my first talk, kind of getting into this a little bit, that this would be an easy topic, that I shouldn't have too much problems getting my thoughts together, and I quickly realized that I was wrong on that. I remember I was in the car with my family. We were heading to church, and I was telling my wife about the struggles that I was having on the direction I wanted to take this talk and everything. And she's like, "Well, have you prayed about it?" And that's what's awesome about my wife. She keeps me grounded. She reminds me of the essentials, and I realized at that point that I hadn't. And so right there at that point, luckily she was the one driving. I just sat back in my chair and I just prayed right there, and I just said, "Lord, I just ask that you inspire me with the message that you want brought across here." And right at that very instant, a new song came on the radio, and it was a song that I've heard 1,000 times before. It's a song that I knew every word to the song. I sang along, as awful as my singing is. I sang along to it every time it was on, and I did something different this time, and I just sat there. And I listened, and I was blown away by the message that was brought across right there. And it was an instant answer to that prayer, that I was instantly just inspired. And it was a song that I never even put with Christian action at all, but it just so clearly explained it to me. And so that's what I brought tonight, was just these lyrics. And I want to take and just kind of break these lyrics down and show you guys the message that I got. So, whew. There we go. So here's the lyrics of the first verse. It says, "I step out on a busy street, see a girl, and our eyes meet. Does her best to smile at me, to hide what's underneath. There's a man just to her right, a black suit and a bright red tie. Too ashamed to tell his wife he's out of work, he's buying time. All those people going somewhere, why have I never cared?" Okay? So what's the story behind these lyrics? We'll just take it from the first line. He says, "I step out on a busy street." He's just simply taken a step out into the world. He just takes a step out into the world, and he starts to look around, and he looks to his left, and he sees a girl that's struggling with an emotional issue of some sort. He looks to his right, and he sees this man who's apparently lost his job, is trying to figure out how he's going to tell his wife. To me, the last line is the one that hits hard. It's where he says, "Why have I never cared? Why have I never cared about the world around me? Why have I never cared about the trials, the tribulations, the struggles that other people are going through?" It wasn't long ago. This was me. This is my story. I, like so many other people, so wrapped up in how can I get ahead? How can I be successful? That I simply didn't care. I knew that it was going on. I knew that there were struggles in the people around me. I knew that there was trials and tribulations in the world, but it wasn't my concern. It wasn't my problem. It's funny how that begins to change, though, once you find Christ. These lyrics continue. The lyrics keep going on as he does, just like what I did, is he turns to prayer. So he's stepped out into the world, and he's looked around, and he's seen the world around him, and he goes to prayer, and he says, "Lord, let me see the world through your eyes." And I'm not sure he really understands the consequences of that. Once you see the world the way that God sees it, I just don't think there's any turning back from that. But that's what he said. And he says, "Lord, give me your eyes for just 1 second. Give me your eyes so I can see everything that I keep missing." And exactly like I said, he sees the world anew. He sees the world the way God sees it, and there's just no turning back. And he just he says, I gotta do something now. I can't just sit here and watch what's going on around me and not have an impact. And he takes and he goes to prayer again, and he says, "Lord, give me your love for humanity. Give me your arms for the brokenhearted, the ones that are far beyond my reach. Lord, give me your heart for the once forgotten. Lord, give me your eyes so I can see." You guys recognize the song? Yep. A few nods. Yup. Yeah, boy, a little fist bump on that one.
Yes.
You're leaving me hanging. All right. So my name is Chris Rogers, and tonight we're going to talk about Christian action. So what is Christian action? You know, the more I started thinking about it, the more I realized that it's pretty easy. It's not easy to do, but the concept of it is fairly simple. It's bringing Christ into every part of our life. It's bringing Christ into every facet, every little nook and cranny of your life. It's bringing Christ into your marriage, into your family, into your work, into your studies, into academics, into sports, into every aspect. And we can go one more. Christian action is to be a friend. Now, I'm not saying you're walking down the street you see somebody and you're like, hey, what's up? And you're like, whew, there, I got my Christian action out of the way for the day. You know, I'm not saying that because I'm challenging you to take it one step further. That's being friendly. What I'm challenging you guys is to be a friend. And what that means is you have to really dig deep. Dig deep and find out what's going on in someone else's life. Dig deep and find out the joys that other people are having and share in those joys and make those extra special, but find out those struggles they're going through. And see if there's a way that you can impact those struggles as well. Christian action is to be a good neighbor. Luke 10:29 through 37 is the story of the Good Samaritan. And basically the way the story goes is that here's Jesus is given a parable or telling a story to a large group of followers. And the way the story goes is that there's this Jew that's on the outskirts of town. And he's heading into town. All of a sudden he gets jumped by a bunch of bandits. They beat the dog snot out of him. They rob him of everything they have. They kick him to the side of the road and they leave him there for dead. Well, the first person that comes upon this Jew is a priest. Now what's he do? He comes walking up and he sees this Jew on the side of the road and I just don't want to get involved in this. And he keeps walking into town. The second person that comes upon this Jew is a temple assistant, and he sees him on the side of the road and he goes, I don't have time for this. And he just keeps going into town. The third person that comes upon this Jew is a Samaritan. And I did a little research to understand this a little better, and the relationship between the Jews and the Samaritans wasn't so good. They didn't really like each other very much. I mean, they hated each other. It's just, they despised each other. So this Samaritan comes up and sees this Jew laying on the side of the road, and what does he do? He kneels down. He bandages his wounds. He picks him up. He carries him into town. He takes him to an inn, and he talks to the innkeeper. He says, listen, I need for you to take care of this guy. Here's all the money I have. If that's not enough, let me know, and next time I'm in town, I'll make even on it. But the important thing is that you take care of this guy. So now here's Jesus, and he's telling this story to this group, and he says, now out of three people, who was the good neighbor? Was it the priest? Was it the temple assistant? Or was it the Samaritan? I mean, it's obvious it was a Samaritan. This guy went out of his way to help someone that not only he didn't know, but just simply based on his background, he didn't like. But that didn't stop him. He went forward to show him God's love, to help him. Now I've got Luke 6:31 says, do to others as you would like them to do to you. Everyone is equal in God's eyes, so everyone should be equal in our eyes as well. So Christian action is to go out and put ourselves in another person's position and treat them the way that we would want to be treated. Christian action is to see and call forth God's very best in every person we meet. And out of this whole talk, I think that's my favorite lines. I want to say that again. It's to see and to bring out God's very best in every person we meet.